So this is what my son told me when he was in a few weeks after my grandson was born. He said to me, Mom, everything you taught me, everything I heard you talk about your professional experience, everything I learned from you was not enough to make me understand what sleep deprivation really is and what parents have to go through on arrival of a baby. So he told me that, and believe me, I thought that I had prepared him very well for what was going to happen, how his sleep was going to be. I made sure he would have my help 2-3 nights a week. He would have the help of my daughter's-in-law mother, and even this way, he was so sleep deprived and so surprised. He told me, everything you taught me, it didn't really make me understand. And this is another mom. Finally, she slept. My husband is snoring, of course. I think I now have at least 3 hours of sleep in a row. This feels like a dream. But will she breastfeed enough? And will she give me really those 3 hours? Geez, why I'm so tired. And I'm rolling around in bed and can't sleep. Now I think I only have 2 hours of sleep. And I thought I was going to sleep 3. Oh no, I heard a noise. Did she wake up? Words that Amy, Lauren's mom, wrote in her postpartum diary about one of her nights in Lauren's first week. So really, parents feel like they were not prepared for the sleep deprivation that happens, and they really feel very tired. You can move now. And this shock is because it is the biggest sleep deprivation you are going to experience, because babies are awake, they sleep and they stay awake, they sleep, they stay awake 24 hours, right? So this is it. You can handle well a first week and the second week, but the third week, if you don't do certain things to help you, your body's not gonna handle that well, right? So we know that even a single sleepless night can affect a person greatly. In fact, going 17 to 19 hours without sleep affects people as much or more than having a blood alcohol content of 0.05%. Drowsiness after sleep deprivation can put a person at risk for accidents, impair their physical performance, and impair their memory. And we know many accidents that happen nowadays that people give the cause, you just assume that the cause was something else, was actually sleep deprivation, because it's easy to find out if somebody was drunk, but not easy to find out if somebody was sleep deprived when they were driving, right? So there are a lot of accidents nowadays that they think that are not being recorded as the cause as being sleep deprivation, but they know they are, right? And there's not only accidents that we can consider in terms of road accidents, but also at home, right? It's important to be very careful when you go down the stairs, because you are sleep deprived and your capacity of judgment is affected, right? It is true that the newborn sleeps completely different from the adult, and even differently from the child between 3 months and 3 years. We know that until 3 months, the baby sleeps very different than an adult. And from 3 months, he needs up to 5 years to be sleeping like an adult, according to National Sleep Foundation. So that means, but that means I'm not going to sleep for 5 years. No, I'm not saying that. Of course, you will sleep better after 3 months, after 1 year. But it's important that you know that biologically, your child doesn't sleep like you. So how this is different, I'm going to tell you. So the mother who does not sleep at night and during the day cannot rest when the baby sleeps will most likely reach a level of sleep deprivation quite high and dangerous for health if she continues for a long time in this situation. So it's common that when you have a baby, a few days pass and you think that, oh, I'm feeling good now. I'm okay I can do this, I can do that, right? But if you really don't understand that your job now is feed the baby, take care of the baby and yourself means rest, right? And feed properly, you're going to be very tired in a few weeks because sleep deprivation accumulates. So that's the problem. Sleep deprivation accumulates. So you are okay in the first 2 weeks, but in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, you're going to be very exhausted. So that's why it's so important that the new mothers accept this advice. Sleep when your baby is asleep and don't do anything else because you're going to need every sleep you can. You can go ahead. So I said babies sleep differently, but how, right? In what way? Well, first of all, the classification of sleep stages in babies is different from that of adults. The stages of newborn sleep are quiet sleep, which is similar to our non-REM sleep, which is our deep sleep, and active sleep, which is similar to our REM sleep, which is our dream sleep. And they also have like an indeterminate sleep that they don't understand very, very well about it. So they basically talk to us and say that babies sleep in quiet and active sleep. Sleep in newborns starts in the phase of the REM, and this is the longest lasting phase. There are some characteristics and signs that are typical of active sleep in babies. Have you seen those babies that are smiling and sucking and sniffling and doing lots of body movements? So those babies are in REM sleep. So they are in light sleep. That sleep is very, very important. And I'm going to tell you why when I talk about REM sleep. Quiet sleep is characterized by consistent breathing patterns and lack of eye or muscle movements. Those are all coming from this scientific article. So babies sleep in REM much more. They have much more REM than we do, and I will tell you why after. And that's why they have so many more chances of waking up because they are longer in light sleep than we adults. We adults sleep 20 to 30% in light sleep and 70 to 80% in deep sleep. Newborn babies sleep 50% in light sleep and 50% in deep sleep. So can you see the difference? Can you see that the baby has many more chances of waking up? And we know that babies wake up also because they need to feed, they need to eat, right? We know that, no questions about it. But I also want you to understand that's not only because they need to eat, but also because they are not biologically, neurologically ready to sleep like this. They sleep much longer in light sleep. I mean, much longer than we do in light sleep, so they have more chances to wake up. Also, the amount of time of sleep duration varies according to the age and stage of the person's life. The average recommended sleep duration for newborns is between 14 and 17 hours. This is another study. So scientists agree that newborn sleep is between 14 and 17. This is what most of the babies need. But if you say to me, oh, Marcia, my baby's sleeping 13, is it something that I need to worry about? So the first thing you need to ask yourself is my baby happy? Is my baby, behaving normally? His humor is good, like his mood is good. So if he is, then you don't have anything to worry about. Because this is what most babies do, okay? So don't worry if they sleep a little bit less, but they are happy. But if you say, oh no, he's irritable all day, he's crying all day, he's upset all day, then that's sleep missing. So the most important thing for you to decide if the baby's sleeping well is not the table. It's not what is in the book. This is only for you to have an idea, but it's how the baby is behaving, okay? please. Go ahead. Yeah, so here we're talking about duration. So if you see the difference between the adults, which we can say that they need to sleep between 7 and 9 hours a night. And according to Matthew Walker, a great sleep scientist that I am a fan, who wrote that book, Why We Sleep. If you have a chance, if you like sleep, read this book. It's amazing. He says, never be less than 7 hours. We don't need less than 7 hours. We need between 7 and 9. Okay, adults. And babies, if you see in here, a newborn baby, 14 to 17. So if you have an infant between 4 months and 11 months, it's 12 to 15. So this is from the Sleep Foundation, okay? However, those recommendations, they are based, just so you know, in what pediatricians see in their work every day, not in science, okay? Just so you know. So this is what most people do. You can go ahead. And here you can see a baby cycle, okay? So first of all, we sleep in cycles, okay? We have like 4 or 5 cycles a night of sleep. So one cycle for us adults, and I'm going to show you the next one soon, lasts between 70 and 90 minutes. For the newborn baby, is going to last between 40 and 50 minutes. But every time we finish a cycle, there is a brief awakening. We do that, I do that, you do that, your baby does that. However, when we do, because we are so used to that, we don't even notice that we woke up. Do you see in here, I start 0 to 10 minutes, I start to fall asleep. Babies start to fall asleep. 10 to 20 minutes is when he's getting into deeper sleep. So if you put him in bed before 20 minutes, most likely he will be still in light sleep. So 10 to 20 minutes, and then 20 to 30, he's in heavy sleep. And then he starts to come out of heavy sleep, and then he starts to go to a light sleep. And when he goes from a light sleep to start again to fall asleep, he has a brief awakening. He wakes up. Every 45 to 60 minutes, he wakes up. And we do that too in the end of our cycle. So when he has this chance to wake up, if the environment is not really good, he might wake up. He sees a little light where the noise machine is or the camera is, and that light just, wakes him up. So the environment needs to be very good for them, and has to be inviting to sleep, right? I'm going to talk a little bit about it. So this is the baby sleep cycle, and this is the adult sleep cycle, which is like 17 to 90 minutes. And we go from stage 1, which is drowsiness. Stage 2, the heart rate already slows down a little bit. The brain does less complicated tasks. Body makes repairs, because that's when we sleep in deep sleep that our body repairs. Our liver, our heart, our stomach, everything that all our organs are repairing right during the night. So the level 3 and level 4, you are in full sleep, in deep sleep. And then when this cycle ends, you go to REM. And REM increase in eye movement, heart rate increase, breathing increase, blood pressure increase, temperature increase, and you are but there is a big difference between our REM and their REM. The baby REM, when he's in REM, 0 to 3 months, he is moving. He is having movements and he's smiling, he's moving, he has those startles. And for us, the REM sleep has a very interesting characteristic of paralyzing our muscles. Scientists think that we do that not to act in our dreams. Very strange, right? So we have this difference between our way to do REM and sleeping REM, and babies they sleep different. So I don't know if you ever experienced being paralyzed in your sleep and wake up. That happened to me one time when I was very sleep deprived. I woke up in the middle of REM. It's the most terrifying sensation a person can have, because you cannot move, you cannot open your eyes. You wanted to open. I remember trying to open, and nothing opened my eye. Nothing opened my eye. I was thinking I was gonna die, because it was a horrible sensation. So I woke up, but my body was completely paralyzed. I had this is it's a disorder from the REM sleep. Thank God I just had a few times, and it went away. It was more like related to sleep deprivation, was not a disorder. But just so you understand how strong this is, you cannot move at all if you are in REM sleep. You cannot move at all. You cannot even open your eye. But for the baby, it's completely different. So babies have more chances to wake up than us, because they are more time, they spend more time in light sleep. And when they wake up, they're not experienced like us. So when we finish one cycle, when we wake up, we look around and we go back to sleep. You don't even remember you did that. But babies, because they are not experienced, they fully wake up sometimes in the end of the cycle. Okay, go ahead. And I talk about REM and non-REM. So non-REM is called non-rapid eye movement. This is an abbreviation in English that means rapid eye movement. This is a type of sleep. When we are sleeping, our eyes are like this. I said we are paralyzed, but not the eyes. So the eyes are like this, right? So the REM sleep is very important for adults, but very much more important for babies. Why? Even though it's not it doesn't look restful for the baby, REM sleep is very important especially because of three things: learning, brain development, and mood. Long time ago, before I did my bariatric surgery, I was really big, bigger than now. I suspect that I had sleep apnea, that condition that you stop breathing when you're sleeping, right? And I suspect because I was waking up very tired, and also because I was not being able to read. And I read a lot, I study a lot, I love reading. And I was noticing that when I was reading, I had to go back to the first paragraph all the time. I said, something is wrong. I'm not concentrating at all. I'm not being able to concentrate in what I'm doing. And I'm waking up very tired. So I went to my doctor, said, I need a sleep study. I need something to, polysomnography. So I went there and I did. And they told me right away, you have now 7% of REM sleep only. So that's why I was not able to learn anything. So they put the machine on me. I slept, and my REM sleep went up to 21% right away. And the days after, I was completely different. A few days after I put the machine on, I was completely different. So I could read, I had no problems at all. So that's how important the REM sleep is, the dream sleep. We call dream because that's when most of our dreams are. Not all of them. We still dream when we are in non-REM. But most of our dreams are in REM sleep. And REM sleep is completely very, very important. And for the babies also, because all the neural connections are happening, and happens when they are in REM. So learning and memory studies have shown that humans have trouble retaining information in their short-term and long-term memory without the support of REM. That's what was happening with. As your baby learns a lot every day, it's important that the brain has time to process everything. So brain development, neural connections are incredibly important for a baby's development. Research indicates that the stage of REM is when neural connections become overloaded, which means REM promotes development. And you know that the baby's brain is growing like crazy in the first 2 years of life. That's why they need so much sleep. And why do they need so many daytime sleep too? Because there is more REM in daytime sleep. That's why sleep during the day is hard. And people say to me, oh, my baby doesn't sleep well during the day. And I said, yes, I know. They have more light sleep. But guess what? This sleep is essential for their development. And that's why naps are so important, because during the day we have more REM. And also very important for mood, it is believed that there is a link between REM, sleep, and coping mechanisms, the baby's ability to face new situations. Coping skills are particularly important for newborn development, as they will help with everything from communication development to executive functioning. We can point here is, for you who are pregnant and don't have a baby yet, you probably don't understand what I'm going to say, but you will at some point. But who already has a baby knows that when you go out and your baby is not able to do the nap, to have his nap, he's more like, sometimes you have to be giving excuse to your relatives. Oh, I'm sorry, he's in bad mood today, right? He's not very, friendly, and because he's not coping well, because he was uh, not able to have his REM sleep, his nap. So REM is very important. Naps are very important because they have more REM. And understand that your baby sleeps in light sleep because he's growing his brain. So this is very interesting. Okay, go ahead. Okay, and how do they sleep? Okay, Marcia, tell us how babies sleep, because that's why we came here for. So regarding the sleep pattern and maturation of the circadian system, newborns have a polyphasic sleep-wake pattern with several sleep periods distributed throughout the day and night. Sleep is evenly distributed throughout the night and day, and the longest period of sleep at 2 weeks of age is normally 4 hours in a row. And sometimes you don't see that in a 2 weeks baby. This is what this study says. What is the circadian system? We all have our physiological functions in our body depending on the dark and light. The light of the day tells us when it's time to produce certain hormones, when it's time to go to the washroom, when it's time to eat, when I feel hungry, when my blood pressure is higher or lower. So all that is important. That's why it's so good that I am exposed to daylight, not only to the sun, but to the daylight every day at the same time, because that organizes my physiological functions. Even my going to having a bowel movement at the right time every day. So that's why it's so good to go and expose yourself to daylight every day. Babies need that too, a lot. There is immaturity of the circadian sleep-wake system, mainly in the first 10 to 12 weeks after birth. So this system that works so well within us doesn't work for the babies until they are actually 3 months. So when we are exposed to the light, we're exposed to daylight, that informs my brain that I have, don't produce melatonin now, which is the sleep hormone, because it's not time to sleep. But that light that I let shine into my eyes during the day at a certain time is going to tell my brain what time I should start producing melatonin. So that's why it's so important that I am exposed to daylight, and at the same time every day, even better. So until 3 months, babies don't really have that help of the melatonin. Doesn't mean they don't know the difference between day and night until 3 months. They can learn that much earlier. Okay, but means that they are not ready yet to be like, to have patterns, to have like, oh, Marcia, I noticed my baby has a nap every day at 9 o'clock. But I don't understand, this week is different. He's under 3 months, then don't expect any pattern yet. It can be excellent sleep for 1 week, 1 month, and then completely chaotic sleep within this period of 3 months, because they don't have their own melatonin yet. They're actually getting from the breast milk, if they are being breastfed, from their moms. That's why, as a tip, I tell you, when you pump milk at night, keep that milk to feed the baby at night. Just a tip here. Huh? Keep that milk to feed the baby at night. Put an end on that milk if you freeze it. So you only give that milk from the night to your baby, because that milk that you produce at night has more melatonin for the baby. Just a tip. So after the sleep period, newborns remain awake for an average of 1 to 2 hours. This is from Mindel. So why did I put this here? Because I would like to remind you that babies are not ready to be awake more than 1 hour when they are born. They are only awake enough time to eat, to feed, to change, to burp, and they need to be put to sleep again. Oh no, but she's not tired. Look, she's alert. She wants to look at everything. And it has been 3 hours that she's awake. Believe me, this is not good. In the end of the day, you're going to pay a price. So babies are supposed to be sleepy every hour when they are born. 2 hours is more like when they're close to 3 months. So usually it's 1 hour, 1 hour and 50 minutes, 1 hour and a half. For newborns, first week, second week, third week, it's not even. Sometimes 1 hour is too much. So this is what we call sleep windows. And we have that here in a study. So this is an information that you can trust. Next one, please. Yeah, so it's important to know that the circadian rhythm is not yet fully established. So sleep can occur just as easily at night as during the day. Leaving the baby exposed to natural light during the day is important for day and night recognition to occur in the baby's sleep. However, many parents mistakenly continue to let the baby sleep in a completely bright environment, even after the babies are already sleeping more at night than during the day, which is no longer necessary. From the first month after birth, the newborn begins to adapt to the night-day rhythm and to recognize some social activities that are repeated. Kanani Silva, 1998. This is a study that shows that, I see a lot of families telling me, oh, my baby's having horrible naps during the day. He's not sleeping during the day. I don't know what to do. And I say, okay, but why is this window open? Oh, but am I not supposed to leave him during the day in the bright environment to sleep, Yes, until he's sleeping more at night. After he learned that, after you notice that he's sleeping many more hours at night than during the day, he already knows the difference. So you don't need to keep leaving the place all bright and lots of light, especially if he's not having good naps. He needs a darker place. So usually we say the place has to be as dark for the night, as dark as you cannot see your hand in front of you. But then in the day, it's just like less than that. Of course, not as dark as at night, but it's still dark after the baby learns the difference between day and night, which can happen in like 3 to 4 weeks. So at 2 to 3 months of age, that is the beginning of the maturation of the circadian cycle, an increase in sensitivity to large dark signals, a gradual transition from the polyphasic sleep-wake pattern to a pattern characterized by longer periods of daytime wakefulness and sleep consolidation. So that's how how it starts, right? They grow a little bit more, and the circadian rhythm is more, it's adapting more. At 3 months, they start to produce their own melatonin, and then they are supposed to be sleeping better. But usually 8 weeks, you see a little bit, you see the difference. Babies are sleeping many more hours during the night than during the day. Go ahead. Exposure to natural morning light is an important and powerful influence on the programming and adjustment of sleep-wake cycle mechanisms. In newborns, exposure to light in the morning is a factor that influences sleep consolidation. It's another study from Mindon. Over the first few weeks of life, newborns spend approximately 64% of their time sleeping. This is another study in 2009. In premature babies, this time is even longer. So it's very common that we see preterm infants sleeping all the time, like very much more than a term baby, right? A baby that was born at term. Preterm infants spend more total time in the sleep state than in the waking state. The first months of newborns can be defined as the period of exterogestation or the fourth trimester. The theory of exterogestation proposes that the baby continues to need care and conditions similar to intrauterine life so that the baby continues its development, adaptation, and maturation. We're going to talk about this. You can move. You can go ahead. The period of adaptation is more similar to intrauterine prenatal life than postnatal life. The newborn needs contact with the mother's body or another caregiver to maintain body temperature, as its thermoregulatory system is still immature. So this 3 months, there is a theory called the fourth trimester that says that we are born before our time, our right time to be born, because otherwise our brain, our head wouldn't go through the birth canal. So then the first 3 months of life are actually the fourth trimester of pregnancy. That's what this theory says. And everything that can mimic the uterine environment, the environment at the womb, is going to calm the baby. So this is what this theory says. And as a postpartum doula, and I'm sure my colleagues here can, say if I'm wrong, but as a postpartum doula, I've seen that calming babies, holding them, and shaking, swinging them a little bit in your arms, swaddling them, putting them on the side. All those things have helped a lot the baby to calm down because they feel like they were in mom's wombs. So also the skin to skin is very important at this time. So babies feel that they are close to you, they feel comfy, and they calm down easily, right? Yeah. So for this reason, the use of slings or suitable backpacks may be indicated to keep the baby close to the mother while she has her hands free, can walk or do some activities quietly while carrying her baby safely. They actually are very good because babies feel like comfy and they are more calm and they are still having their naps, and you can do something, right? You can do other things because your hand is free. In Western culture, the lap is often interpreted as something bad and can badly get the baby used to it. However, there is scientific evidence for the fact that the newborn babies need this physical contact as a matter of survival and self-regulation. So it's not bad to hold the baby. What you cannot do, you should not do, is to do this 24 hours because, of course, you're going to be exhausted and you don't have to do that 24 hours. So that's why we use the swaddle. We put the baby in the swaddle and the mother can have some rest. The mother can put the baby someplace to sleep, which is a safe place, the crib or the bassinet in the swaddle. So we use the swaddle to mimic this environment. So you're not going to be 24 hours with the baby here, but it's important to know that you should not be worried about giving a newborn baby bad habits because That's not, as long as you can also, place him when he's sleeping, for you to sleep too in a safe place. It's okay to hold him during the day when you need it, right? When the baby needs that, it's important for him and for you too, for the bond, right? You can go ahead. And parents sometimes tell us, healthcare providers, I go to my doctor and the doctor doesn't, when the babies are, having all those, parents are having all those questions, what do I do? What can I do to help my baby, and to sleep better? And then they go to the pediatrician. And I don't know if you know, but these articles here show how much a doctor really learned in school about sleep. It's 4 to 10 hours. They did a study with more than 120 universities, to find out how much study for sleep a doctor has, pediatrician. I do have a course for sleep for professionals, and I have a lot of pediatricians in my course. They come to learn because they don't learn that in school. So that's why parents sometimes feel so left out. They say, well, I go to my doctor and he says, oh, leave your baby to cry out, or tell you that it's going to get better with time. So, but you are having problems now and you need help. Of course, when you have a newborn baby, we know that there are things that you need help, right? Because babies are not going to sleep like a 1-year-old. They are not going to sleep the whole night. So you're probably going to need some more help. You're probably going to need family to help you. You're probably going to need a professional to help you to go through this phase, right? But there are some things that you can do, like, for example, when you see that the baby is learning the difference between day and night, to prepare the environment for him to sleep better. I'm going to talk about this in the end here, the tips that I'm going to give it to you. But the truth is that doctors don't know a lot about sleep. They don't. You can go ahead. If I was here, I was going to show you the study, but that's okay. It's just a study that shows that the doctors don't have education in sleep, At the beginning of life, especially in the first year, babies need continuous body contact to feel safe, especially during sleep. There is this need for body contact. Therefore, the practice of sharing a room or co-sleeping, crib attached to the bed, favors breastfeeding and sleep for the mother-baby pair. Newborn sleep is more strongly influenced by hunger and satiety than light-dark signals. Remember I said they don't know yet, right? The difference between day and night. They don't know the light-dark signals. So circadian rhythms and environment cues play a much smaller role in newborns compared to older babies. Older babies are more, they learn, they know more because they understand the difference between day and night. They are producing melatonin over 3 months. So they are not more so influenced by hunger anymore like the newborn. So the newborn wakes up a lot too because he's hungry and needs to be fed. Go ahead. So what can you expect then? Okay, between 0 to 5 weeks, babies have many naps a day. You don't know when they are napping. You cannot even call nap because they sleep all the time. There is no regular bedtime yet. Oh, what time I should put my baby to sleep? There is no regular bedtime yet. Naps can last 50 minutes, 40 minutes, 1 hour, 3 hours. Everything is normal. And the total hour of sleep for this age is 14 to 7 hours in 24 hours. Between 6 and 8 weeks, the morning nap might show up. So you might notice, oh, I see here every day at 9 o'clock, I see this sleep. So what you're going to do, you're going to stimulate them. You're going to make sure you go to the bedroom at that time, even if the baby doesn't show a lot of signals. But you go and you're going to stimulate the baby. Okay, he wants to sleep at 9 o'clock, so I'm going to do my best to encourage that. So I see the morning naps coming, but still many naps a day, many naps, still no routine, not a lot of routine. But this is when you can start a bedtime routine. This is when you can start to, oh, I noticed that he's tired around 8 o'clock. So I'm going to make sure I start a ritual for him at 7:30 to encourage him to have a regular bedtime. So that's when you can start. Naps can last 40 minutes, 1 hour, or 2 to 3 hours at this age. You can go ahead. And 2 to 3 months, yeah. 2 to 3 months, then you see a little bit more regular pattern, right? Like you see 4 to 5 naps a day, becomes a bit more regular with bedtime. So baby wants to sleep at that time. He's going to show you signs, clear signs that he needs to sleep, right? Naps can last 40 minutes, 1 hour, or 2 hours. Usually doesn't do 3 hours anymore. And still 14 to 17 hours of sleep. Go ahead. So what can I tell you as, what can I tell you that you can do? What is in your power to do? Because I told you a lot of things here that you might feel, oh, Márcia, then there's nothing I can do. My baby's going to sleep, he's going to wake up many times at night. Until 3 months, I'm not going to sleep. What can I do, right? So there are some things that you can do. Recently, there is a study that showed, a Japanese study that showed a technique that I wanted to teach you. And I actually send it to you, Kate, in an email, this link. If you can click in that link, I would love to show them the video. It's a very short video that shows their experience. They were trying to calm babies, and they came up in the study with this technique of 5 minutes walking and 5 to 8 minutes sitting. And they were able to calm a baby that was crying a lot. So this is one thing that you can do. You can try. Okay, so this is a tip that I'm going to give it to you. This study was very recently published in September this year. Okay, so it's in the email that she sent it to you.
Sorry, I'm just looking for it here. I don't see it in my email yet, so I'm trying to update my emails. I still haven't seen it come through. You sent it to my my Gmail?
Well, no, the email that she sent it to you, she just sent my email to you, right?
Oh, with the link. Sorry, I see the link here. Okay.
Yeah, you see the link? It says Cosmo Magazine, People Crying, Baby Sleep Strategy.
Yes, I'm just gonna pull it up.
Yeah, if you can just, it's like 4 minutes.
Yeah, it's a video?
It's a video, yeah. Yeah, this video in there. Can you just...
Can you hear it?
Yeah, I can, not really.
Well, I paused it now. Let me know. I'm looking at you. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear it.
No, very low, very low.
In 2013, Meakin researchers found that mammal infants become
If you can go back to the beginning.
when they are carried by their parents.
This is the abstract of this study, okay?
Crying is just something that babies do. While picking up an infant is often enough to calm them, sometimes they just keep crying and crying. In 2013, Meakin researchers found that mammal infants become quiet and docile when they are carried by their parents. It is often an emergency that forces animal parents to carry their infants. Thus, the infants cooperate with their parents by withholding their cries and movements. However, the researchers found that infants resumed crying soon after their short bout of carrying. It was also unclear whether the carrying was more effective than other actions.
I have raised 4 children, and I have performed these experiments. But even I couldn't foresee the key results of this study until the statistical data came out. Because infant physiology is unexpectedly complex, and our intuition is very limited. That is why we need science.
In the current study, researchers tested the effects of 4 different maternal behaviors on crying infants: carrying the infant while walking, holding it while seated, placing it in a cot, and moving it in a mobile cot. Crying decreased when infants were transported, either by carrying or on a mobile cot, but not when they were held. Next, the researchers looked at the effects of carrying infants for 5 minutes. This 8-week-old baby was initially crying. However, once the mother began walking, the baby stopped crying and fell asleep after about 2 minutes. After 5 minutes of being carried, 46% of infants were asleep, and an additional 18% fell asleep within 1 minute from the end of the walk. Thus, walking with a crying infant not only soothes its cries, but also helps it fall asleep. But getting the baby to sleep is not the end of the story. About 1/3 of sleeping infants woke up as soon as they were placed in their bed. To examine the physiological conditions of the infants, the researchers monitored their heart rates using an electrocardiogram. The heart rate reflects autonomic activity. When babies are asleep, they have a slow heartbeat, and it gets faster when they are startled or begin to cry. These measurements showed that the infants are alerted most significantly when they are detached from the mother's body, not when their back touches the bed. It was also found that if the infants stayed asleep after being laid down, their heartbeats became slower than while they were being carried. This means that sleeping babies can rest better in a bed than in their parents' arms. There is a dilemma, however. Placing the sleeping babies down on the bed may wake them up. So what can parents do? The speed at which they were laid down, or the order in which their body parts landed on the bed, didn't affect the success of putting them to sleep. The researchers found that the duration of the infant's sleep before being laid down was about 8 minutes in successful cases and about 3 minutes in unsuccessful ones. This finding is consistent with sleep research that shows that an infant's initial shallow sleep stabilizes after several minutes. Taken together, the present study proposes a method for soothing a crying baby. Carrying it for 5 minutes, then sitting down and waiting for another 5 to 8 minutes to facilitate its sleep. Extending this line of research could shed new light on the complex physiology of infants and could help support parents and caregivers through science-based parenting practices.
The method we suggest is cost-free and within the range of normal parenting, so that parents can try it anytime. We are now working to develop a baby tech wearable device that can provide feedback on the infant physiological state in a real-time manner to reduce parental stress from infant crying and sleep problems.
This one is hard to understand a little bit, but she's saying they are developing a device that I really didn't understand very well what she said in the end. So this is okay. So if you can just go back to that slide that we were, yeah, this one, the last. Yeah. So I just wanted to show you that because it's an interesting technique. And I want you to think about this technique for a moment that you are like, oh, baby doesn't stop crying and baby's already fed. He's not constipated. I don't see any signs of colic, but he doesn't stop crying. So that's one thing that you can do when babies are very tired sometimes. Sometimes they are crying that much. There is, people usually say, oh, in the afternoon, in here in my house, there is the witching hour, right? So the hour where the baby cries a lot. Many times there is nothing related to pain or digestive issues or hunger. It's just that the baby didn't sleep enough during the day, and at the end of the day, he's very excited, and the cortisol hormone went up, and he cannot fall asleep. So this is a technique for you to try and see maybe it helps. I tried before with 2 babies and really helped. So maybe you can try too. The other good tip that I give it to you is the 5 S's. So Dr. Harvey Karp, who wrote the book called The Happiest Baby on the Block, supports this theory of the 4th trimester, where he says that the babies are going to be calm when they the parents do those 5 techniques. So because it's going to remind them the womb, when they were at the womb, right? So which is a dark place, a noisy place, right? A place where he's always moving. So the 5 S's are 5 techniques, and they call 5 S's because they start with the letter S in English, which is the swaddle. When you do the swaddle, the when you wrap the baby, right? The side position, when you put the baby in your arms and put in the side. The swing, where you're holding the baby and you're swinging. And the sucking, so the baby has, if the baby is having the pacifier or the mother's finger, for example, or even the breast, right? And the shushing. So there's 5 S's that you do. And when you do those 5 S's, the baby starts to it starts to calm down, right? And I use this a lot. I'm sure my colleagues too here who use that too, those techniques. And I really encourage you not to go to the birth room without knowing the 5 S's, okay? So you can actually look for the Happiest Baby on the Block website. And in YouTube, there is a lot of videos also about Dr. Harvey Karp. If one of you can just write down there in the chat the name, The Happiest Baby on the Block, Dr. Harvey Karp, so the parents can actually after look for this website. Yeah, good, thank you. So I do think that a swaddle properly done also makes wonders, like makes a difference. So we all need to know how to make the swaddle properly, making sure that the hips are not tight. The baby can actually move his legs, right? So we don't, it's no harm on his hips, but a little tighter here, so he cannot actually startle and wake up. So the swaddle properly done is really good. And sometimes I see parents telling me, oh no, Marcia, but you don't know my child. He doesn't like the swaddle. And I say, do it. Even if he cries a little bit when you do it, you just go and do the 4 S's after that, because the swaddle is one of the S's, right? So you just go quickly and do the 4 S's, and most likely he will like the swaddle. And it's very hard that a baby that's very new stays in the bassinet without being swaddled and he's sleeping very good. It's very, very rare to see that, right? So white noise is another thing that we use too. Babies like it. They were in a very noisy place. There is a study that measured the noise in the uterus, and it can be 85 decibels, which is like the maximum that the human ear can handle it. So when we talk about white noise, we're talking about 50 to 60 decibels, which is like a shower or like a conversation. But you can also measure the decibels if you want, just having an app in your cell phone that measure the decibels if you want to. So people now are using white noise, and it really helps when you have older children in the house to block the noise for the baby and also to calm down the baby, because he remembers the noise in the uterus and you won't, right? Another thing that I say that helps me a lot when I'm taking care of the baby and I want him to sleep well is to do good burps. I invest time in burping the baby well, sometimes 2-3 times during a feed. So when I put the baby, it's going to take longer for me to put the baby in bed, but he doesn't have bubbles anymore. Sometimes you just put the baby there and he starts to wake up again because there is another bubble. So invest time in good burps. Expose baby to light same time every day. Doesn't need to be the sun, just daylight. So even if you don't want to go outside, just put the baby in front of a window every day at the same time. That helps a lot too for him, for his circadian rhythm. So it's going to help, to learn, right? Another tip is to put the feet touching the bassinet so he feels something around him, right? We cannot put the baby touching the edge, the side of the bassinet, because it's not safe. But you can touch the feet in the bassinet and he feels a little bit more cozy. And for the postpartum period, what I really recommend is don't do it alone. Don't do it alone. Get help, get family to help. If you can, get professional help, because you really need help. You really need to heal, and you really need to sleep, to produce milk, to feed, for your mood to be okay. So invest your time in getting help with family, if possible, with friends, if you can. I think this is the last one, if I'm not wrong. The last slide. Yeah. Oh, okay. And safe sleep always. I wanted to call your attention to the fact that the American Academy of Pediatrics released recently a new a list of recommendations for safe sleep. One of them is babies don't need to sleep anymore in inclined cribs. Even those who have reflux, guys, it's a very new thing. They actually found out that it's best for the baby because of gravity. The milk doesn't come back to the trachea. It's not gonna go in the esophagus to the trachea. It's gonna go to the esophagus. So the baby should be in a flat position. So this is the biggest difference between the last one in 2016 and the new recommendation now. The other recommendations are the same, like babies should be sleeping their bags. Baby should not be anything in the crib, only the baby and a very tight sheet on the crib, right? No animals, no nests, no protectors around the crib, nothing in the crib, just the baby and a very tight sheet. This is what you should do for your baby to sleep safely. Okay, I know I talked too much. I'm gonna just to let you guys ask me any questions you have now, if you do. And I hope this presentation helps you a little bit to understand more about newborn sleep. Does anybody have questions?
You can just jump right in if you have any questions for Márcia.
No questions?
No one?
I think learning is when learning, everything sounds beautiful, right? But facing the challenges is like when we will know, like feel how it goes, right? So as you mentioned, each case is a case. We have some standard solutions, but we'll probably need to adapt depending on the baby's routine, right? So I think we're excited, right, Andressa? But let's see how it goes from here, right?
Yeah, it's going to be different for everyone.
Yes. But I think getting all this information helps a lot to prepare. So thank you a lot. It was very good, very enlightening.
That's good. Yeah, good to know. Who else has questions? I'm here to answer any question, guys.
I think I can ask one.
Sure, go ahead.
I have many clients that, knows that the baby can sleep during the day, and sometimes I said that thing about the sling that I told that I like a lot, and usually say I think it's better for the baby be sleeping with you than for him to be awake and you
cannot do anything anyways,
And
right?
for the baby too, and for the baby too.
Yeah, it's better for the baby because he will be sleeping and he needs to sleep, as you were talking about, and for the family that they can just rest a little bit, even if baby's not in the crib. Uh, but do you think that's good for the baby, or after baby's sleeping, like after 8 to 10 minutes, I don't know, 20 minutes, it's better to put him on that because sometimes it's hard for them to take it off from the sling to put in the bed, and sometimes babies I wake because of that. So do you think it's okay to live in the sling at least in the beginning, or it's better to put in the crib?
Yeah, I would say the parents need to just to use the good sense and think. Of course, if you spend 3 months with the baby sleeping every day on you, you're gonna have a hard time after, right? So I would say we need to use the good sense. If the mother is having a very difficult day, if that day, baby's, every time she puts the baby down, the baby wakes up. So she's having a very difficult day. I would say go ahead and hold him the whole day. But once the baby is getting to the 6 to 8 weeks, you need to worry a little bit more about routine. So you need to try more and more to put the baby down. So that's why I like to invest also in a good swaddle, in a good. I like to teach parents, to spend time teaching parents to do properly, because it's very common. I don't know if you guys heard that, Luana, Mari, who are doulas too, like me. Oh, my baby doesn't like the swaddle. Oh, my baby doesn't stay in the swaddle. And then I go there and I do it and the baby stays. So it has to do a lot with how to do it properly. Properly means careful, so we don't put the baby in any risk of having hip dysplasia, right? And also tight in here. But also remembering that we have to take the baby out of the swaddle every time you're going to feed, every time he's going to change diapers, so he's going to be able to move, right? So I would say the best thing is to use that technique, this suggestion for a day that's harder, but also use the swaddle and try to put the baby down when possible. And especially when it's closer to 6 weeks, even more important. Yeah, because otherwise it's hard for them, to sleep. The parents are going to have hard time to sleep. And if you do this, you avoid sometimes those sleep trainings that people end up doing. You avoid that if you start with a good routine in the beginning, right? Yeah. Did I answer
Thank
your
you,
question?
Lou.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, who else wants to ask questions?
You can just write down on the chat if you prefer.
Yeah, if you prefer, sure. Nobody else? I
Well,
hope you like it. I hope you guys like it, because I don't know, when you don't have questions, you don't know, right? Did they like it or not?
Maybe you were thorough enough so no one has questions.
Yeah, I know, but it's always good to ask, because I'm sure I didn't say everything, right? Like there's other things that people are probably thinking, or just
Yeah. I know I could stay here for hours and hours talking about this, because this is really, really important, and it's not something we really learn, in life. So yeah, thank you, Marcia. It was wonderful.
no problem. I just wanted to leave a message here that I want you guys all know that we all need sleep. Sleep is very important for health. If we don't sleep, we get fat. We get more. I know that because I was a very heavy person, and now I'm working on it. I did the surgery, right? And but the lack of sleep helped me to be more fat. because when we know that when we are awake, we are sleep deprived, our hunger hormones are all over the place. The hormone ghrelin that makes us hungry increases. And the hormone leptin that makes us feeling, oh, I don't need to eat anymore, goes down. So that's why when we are sleep deprived, we gain weight. So not good at all. So we have to invest in good sleep. And I also wanted to tell parents, you all deserve sleep. So know that that time that's coming now for you who are pregnant, guys who are pregnant, might be difficult, but invest in your sleep and teach your child to have respect for sleep, like to prioritize sleep. So the question I leave you for you to ask here is, do you have a schedule and you put your sleep around your schedule, or you put your 7 hours of sleep, 8 hours of sleep, and put your schedule around your 7 hours of sleep? So I want you to think about it. I just wanted to leave this question for you to think. I do that. When I have to work nights, I find my way to sleep during the day, and I have to sleep those number of hours. And I don't care what I have to do. Sometimes I am so worried. Oh my gosh, it's time for me to go to sleep. I need to finish this. I need to finish this because my time is coming and I have to go. And I try hard to do that. So of course, sometimes it's not possible. I have a birth, but every time I can, I try to do this way. So ask yourself, do I put my sleep, my hours of sleep first, and then I make my schedule, my calendar around, or I do the opposite? I put my calendar first, and then whatever's left is my sleep. Just wanted you to think about it. And your baby is going to sleep like you, okay? So just know that.
Priorities, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Luana,
Well,
you wanted to say something?
oh yeah.
Yeah, I just want to ask if someone needs after baby's born as a sleep consultant, do you go to the house or do online
Yeah, I
consultation?
do sleep consultations even for pregnancy. I'm also certified as an adult sleep consultant, so I work with pregnant women for their sleep. I prepare pregnant women for sleep, for the baby sleep. And I also work with newborns, but not doing sleep training because we don't do that with newborns, okay? We do offer sleep consulting is not equal to sleep training, okay, guys? Sleep consulting is not equal to sleep training. Sleep training has its place sometimes, but it's for older babies. So what I do now is I work with the family to learn how to sleep well, how to deal with sleep deprivation, and how to put the baby in a good routine. Yes, I do that. And I do online and I do in person.
That's a great question, Lou. I was about to say, if anyone, wants to know more about this service that Marcia provides, you can just send us an email and set up, a meeting to talk. Yeah, and also overnights, right, Marcia?
Yeah.
Marcia does. Luana also. We have a few doulas who do overnight sessions for families to support families in postpartum, and it's surprisingly helpful, right?
Yeah, parents love that.
Yeah.
When
Well,
we arrive at
okay,
their home.
everyone.
Yeah, thank you very much for for listening to me. I hope you guys enjoy, and I hope you have a great night of sleep.
Yeah. Thank you, Marcia. Thank you, everyone, for your presence and your patience. At the end, we figured it out. Thank you. Have a good
Bye.
night.
Thank you, Mama
Bye.
Thanks,
Dula, also
everyone.
for
Good night.
hosting that. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.